My next guest is going to be back in action, UFC 298, taking on Danny Barlow. It's Josh Quinlan back here on the program. Josh, how are you?
Yes, sir. Doing well. 10 days out and feeling great. Looking forward to the bout. Got a good opponent and made some changes and adjustments and looking to come out wild.
Good. Well, we're looking forward to it. And I like the positivity right off the top. Let's talk about some of those changes. What is different going into this fight than say, your last fight?
I had time to prepare. Trey Waters was a great opponent. He gave me a lot to think about and reflect on. I made the necessary adjustments to get better as a artist. And he is, Danny Barlow's a similar attributes. So I'm going to come in with a different game plan and a little more poised and looking forward to, solving that puzzle.
We haven't seen you in a while. I think your last fight was in April. Why the layoff? I know you mentioned the changes, but were you trying to fight a little bit sooner than this?
I would have liked to fight a little sooner than this, but the opportunities didn't work out. They offered me one in July. I was still recovering from some injuries, and I was hoping to get one in, at least one in before the end of the year, but it just didn't pan out. I was training hard, I was training consistent, and so this one at the beginning of the next year is the best opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. I obviously want to go in, full force and feeling good and all that stuff. You referenced the fight there with Trey Waters. Any other takeaways from that fight that you're bringing into this one? You mentioned the changes, but kind of looking back on the performance, is there anything you're kind of looking at?
I learned to be a little more adaptable in this situation. Um, Trey Waters posed a good puzzle and he came in with a good strategy. Um, I was trying to lunge in. I didn't keep my feet under me. I'm trying to close the distance more properly this upcoming fight and just be a little more well-rounded. Don't think about just winning the fight one way, but be adaptable and adjust to the situation at hand.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. As far as that, I know for some fighters, once they get that first loss, it's a bit of a relief because I know for some fighters, they carry that undefeated record. It's something they're always thinking of. Did you feel that way? Like I know for some fighters, they're almost happy to get that loss out of the way, so they're not thinking about the undefeated streak. How did you take that?
Honestly, there was a bit of pressure to continue that win streak, continue that undefeated record, and after it, I believe we learn more from our losses than our wins. So that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on getting better, growing from that fight. And it was a little bit of relief, but I'm focused. I'm looking at the each fight as a learning experience and to get better. I'm dedicating myself to this sport and this profession. I'm grinding on a daily basis. So I think everyone will be proud of or happy with the adjustments I've made, and I'll have a good performance this upcoming weekend.
Let's talk about Danny Barlow. He's undefeated, 7-0 coming into this fight. How are you looking at this fight stylistically? How do you feel like you match up against him?
I believe we both have good attributes and we have a good fighting style. He's a counter fighter. He has a long range, and I'm trying to lay some hands on him as well. So I'm working on closing the distance. He's trying to keep the distance. So it's going to be a good strategical fight. He has some power, but so do I. And I'm not going to depend on the power. I'm looking to close the distance and just being patient, being a little more patient in this fight. But I'm excited to what the future holds.
Training camp, who have been some of the main guys that have been helping you get ready for this fight as far as training partners?
I've had some great training partners. My coach has been sharpening me up, Michael Costa, and I'm coming with a well-rounded game with a good jiu-jitsu coach and good wrestling coach. My teammates have been Nico and Daryl. Those are the main guys I've been working with. and Marco Simmons also has been a great training partner. So good group, good group of guys, tight knit, and looking to have a good performance this upcoming fight.
I know when you've been off for a while, it's tougher maybe to do the weight cut. How's that going ahead of the fight because you've just been off for so long?
Weight cut is going well. My weight doesn't fluctuate or get too high off season or out of camp. I just maintain a good output, and when it gets down to it, it takes me about 2 weeks to 10 days to sharpen up and lean out. I'm looking to meet the weight a little earlier so I don't or get down under 180 just so my body knows and feels a little better so I don't have to do it all at once.
Makes sense. And what about your corner? Who will be in the cage with you on February 17th?
In my corner, I got my main coach, Michael Costa. I have a jiu-jitsu coach, Sydney Silva, and a wrestling coach, Chase Pammy. A well-rounded group. Got my clinch work and wrestling in on point. Got my jiu-jitsu and ground game sharpened up, and a good strategy for my striking. So everything's all the everything's well-rounded. So I'm coming in strong.
Love it. And how do you see the fight unfolding on February 17th? How do you see it going down?
I'm looking to get the victory. Been training hard for this fight, and not locked in or expecting to win a certain way, but being able to win decisively. I'm not gonna let it drag out. Looking to come in there strong. So you should expect a great fight, exciting fight, and giving God the glory the whole way through.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the third fight on your UFC deal, right? If I'm not mistaken, because usually you sign like a 4-fight deal. And the reason I bring that up is because obviously if you win here, that's nice going into that last fight on the contract, because I know sometimes you can renegotiate on the last fight, right?
Yeah, I feel that if you have losing record on your contract, then puts a little more pressure on your last fight. But I'm not thinking about that. I believe that I'm growing every fight, and it's an exciting one. I go in to fight with my heart, and I'm growing as a fighter each fight. So it's enjoying the process and going to have a good performance this upcoming fight.
Love it. That's great. What do you like doing for downtime? You seem like a very spiritual person, someone that's very grounded. You're sort of soft spoken, which is not, a lot of fighters are kind of the opposite. Maybe they're a little bit more boisterous. What do you enjoy doing outside of fighting?
That's a good question. I was asked that this past week, and I really dedicated myself to this lifestyle and profession as a martial artist and a full-time fighter. So on a downtime, I enjoy just maybe going to a coffee shop, reflecting on the past week, visualizing the future. But I'm living the dream right now. I'm enjoying the process. The people around me are really supporting me through the process, and I know this is not a long career for anybody. So I'm enjoying it. I'm dedicating myself and not looking too far ahead, just progressing and taking advantage of the opportunities right now.
Well said. And you also kind of strike me as a guy who, isn't probably on social media that much, not getting caught up in all this, nonsense. It's kind of like, wasting a lot of time and stuff. Is that accurate? You mentioned going to a coffee shop. You kind of just go there to unwind a bit and, kind of take your mind off everything. Like take me through that side of yourself.
Yeah, the coffee shop is a good environment. My coach kind of got me into some coffees because he's a kind of connoisseur, and I just enjoy the environment, being around people, but being to myself, being able to journal, reflect on the past week, set some intentions for the upcoming week, and my weekly routine. It keeps me directed, keeps me intentional, and Yeah, I've been keeping track of my routine since this beginning of this year, and it's been pretty consistent. So, sowing the right seeds to get the right harvest.
Excellent. My last question, a bit of a different one. I know we've done interviews before, but I haven't actually asked you this before. You fought a friend of mine in your amateur career, Rodney James Edgar. It was in 2017. You won in 58 seconds. I was just wondering what you remember about that fight, because Rodney, like I said, a good friend of mine. I don't think he doesn't fight anymore. He works in the military. He was doing a bit on the MMA media side as well. But what do you remember about
Yeah,
that fight? That was a couple years ago.
I do remember Rodney. It was a quick fight, but he's coming in trying to take my amateur belt, and I didn't. I had nothing to do with that. He's a great guy, though. He actually interviewed me um, last year or so, and great guy. Has a family, growing his family, and just doing the best with what he got.
Yeah.
And I like his vibe. We talked some story about I believe he's a local to Las Vegas,
Yep.
so we talked some food shops and stuff. And yeah, no, great guy. I enjoy him, and I wish him the best in his family and enjoying the life.
That well said, and that's so cool. I figured you guys would get along because it seems like you guys are very, similar personality, very, very nice guys, which is awesome. Josh, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. I know Fight Week is coming up here pretty quickly, but it's UFC 298, February 17th. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any teammates, any social media you want to promote, I will give you the last word, sir.
All right, thank you very much. And I just like to thank first and foremost God, Jesus Christ, just blessing all of us with the opportunities to live and experience this this life together. Um, the health and just every day is a blessing. People have to keep that mentality and do the best. Put others in front of yourself, and just bring up the ones beside you, and be inspired about the people in front of you. That's the gratitude, and that's the life I I try to entail or just embody. For my sponsors, I'm grateful for Iridium, Iridium Sports Agency. They gave me great opportunities, and continue to provide. I recently got a sponsor right here. I just tanked one down, Brute Seltzer. It's a
Nice.
new company, and it's a nice spin on a energy drink, but more of a fitness based and health based. And I enjoy it. Got a little caffeine, little BCAAs, and the L-theanine to balance out the caffeine. And I'm glad to be partnered up with them. And just the UFC for the opportunities that I'm given. We're working hard and dedicating ourselves, and I believe that that's what people can do with their life: dedicate themselves to something and give God the glory.